Good morning, everyone. Dylan, are you hearing us okay?
Yep.
Good morning to everyone. Welcome from a sunny day in Seattle, Washington. Our topic for today is the administration and use of third-party applications within your work domain. There we go. So what's happened is, over the last several years, we've seen a move from monolithic desktop applications to a larger number of purpose-built apps that are most often presented as either an extension to your browser or as an application that quite often will run through your browser. There are a number of good reasons why this has become popular. It does change a little bit how you're going to think about administering applications within your domain. We end up in a situation where we have to provide the appropriate level of control and security while giving our workforce the applications and other attributes of a third-party app that they find most beneficial to them. Now, two great sources for that are both the apps marketplace and the web store. The big difference being between an application that you will tend to run from your local machine and an extension to your browser. Both work very well, they're just slightly different in approach. A little bit about me before we get started. I am in networking years a dinosaur. I have been doing this since the 80s, as a matter of fact. So everything I learned that was vitally important when I started no longer means a thing. As we go on in networking years, this becomes a faster and faster obsolescence. At any rate, I work for Smartsheet. We build a platform for collaboration for our customers. The company is 10 years old. I've been here for a little bit over 3. We're based in Seattle, Washington. And we deal with a large worldwide audience, which means we have to take into account many, many cultures, many, many ways of doing things. We can't build a single view application, for example. Several years ago in our growth, we decided that we were going to split up corporate IT, which was inward-facing to our employees, who we treat as our customers, and the outward-facing, the customer-facing applications that's handled by our operations department. When we started the IT team, we started with a very simple philosophy, and this came from our CEO down, and we take it to heart every day. IT's job is to provide our customers with absolutely the best, easiest to use and productive IT environment possible. It means a little bit of a flip from 10, 15 years ago where IT tended to project what the rules would be, to we're in an environment now where IT is a facilitator for the needs of our customers. And that's an important philosophical change that will drive a lot of the decisions we'll be talking about as we go on. Yes, I go back to a mainframe client environment. For those of you who are not a dinosaur in IT and don't know what that is, find someone with gray hair and ask them. I was also a full-time instructor in IT for 12 years before I came to work at Smartsheet, so I enjoy doing these presentations. My favorite apps, Google Apps is my very favorite because it allows me to do anything, pretty much anything I want to do from anywhere. We use Lucid charts here for everything from floor plans to network diagrams to creating presentations for a board of directors. And I'm a big Twitter fan. I was late to Twitter, but I became a fan when I discovered that by subscribing to the right people, I could get very short synopses of all of the information related to IT that I was truly interested in and follow those leads that I wanted to see more about. Gives you a little idea of how we're doing things here. So why we're going to talk about a couple of things. First off is why are we making this change from the desktop app out to more third-party, more cloud-based, more mobile apps. And then we're going to talk about the best ways to work that into your domain structure so you maintain an adequate level of control. So let's start with the why. Okay, first off is mobility. For example, here at Smartsheet, at any one moment, any one day, 10–15% of our workforce are working from offsite. That has just become the common standard now, especially I'm in the IT industry. We probably push that a little harder than most people. But we've also got a sales staff that is out on the road a significant amount of the time, that is interacting with us through a lot of mobility-based apps. We consider it important enough that here at Smartsheet, our mobile apps are a good 40–50% of our ongoing traffic. And that's at the moment is based on iOS and Android-based platforms. And we find that that amount is growing as we go year by year. Even within the company, we have collaboration spaces where teams will meet on sort of an ad hoc mode. And the more we can provide tools that makes those meetings easier, if you can't make it to the spot, you can make it virtually, the better our workforce can get their communication to each other, the more efficient we are in developing our products and services, the better we end up serving our customers, both internal and external. The second big reason is that the monolithic apps are wonderful. If what you need is the power they provide, that's great, but they tend not to be the easiest apps to use. We have found that for a large percentage of our customers, if we go to a more lightweight application, we have fewer menus to wade through, we have a much faster learning curve for people to pick up and feel productive in those applications. Third reason is that when you pick applications, Twitter is an example, Smartsheet is an example, Lucid Charts is an example, where they choose to do one thing. They get a greater focus from that development team on that particular piece of functionality. And that means that they're more agile, they adopt new features faster, they tend to keep up with what people are looking for. So taken in total, what you've got is, from a user standpoint, and this can be the ID, the platform we use, sorry about that, the platform we use for developing our software, to the tools we use for screen capture, and even the tools we're using today for presenting this webinar to you, we get a more efficient flow. We get better use out of our employees' time. So let's talk a little bit about how, and some pain points that we found and we've heard from most people that they're seeing in bringing in third-party apps. One is you've got 10 different apps, you've got 10 different usernames, you've got 10 different passwords. Okay? There are services out there that will help you to get past this by providing single sign-on. Google is actually one of the easiest we've ever run across for doing this. What we're showing on the screen is our current Smartsheet logon. Okay, and this is what our employees see every day. And you can go the traditional route of username and password. However, we've chosen, if you look down at the bottom, with the blue underscore is if you've logged into our domain, click the button, you are authenticated with all appropriate rights and privileges to Smartsheet. Highlighted by the green line, if you're out of the office, can't reach our domain, don't want to go through the VPN. Simple. If you've logged into Google, you're checking your mail or doing anything else with the apps we've provided for you, click on the blue button, your authentication passes through, and you are now authenticated to Smartsheet using your Google credentials. The third is, and I left the underscore out, is we've now built in a functionality where you can authenticate through an Azure AD domain. And this is a new functionality for a new service that is coming online, and we, like a lot of companies, wanted to be in the forefront of ease of use for our customers, our Smartsheet customers. So we add these pass-throughs and these alliances with the service providers as rapidly as is practical for us to do. The big thing here is now your users got one set of authentication rules. I know most of you, if you're in the IT world, have dealt with the joys of passwords and, oh my heavens, I've forgotten how to access these things. It's just easier now for our users to find all of the apps they need. Single sign-on is based on a set of very well-established applications and protocols. So step one, get a good set of domain authentication. I think we don't need to go too much in depth there. Two, though, make sure you take advantage of the open authentication or SAML. Smartsheet has chosen SAML as our standard, as an open protocol that provides a clear set of rules as to what information is required to make the system work. Okay? Step three, set up those SAML standards to pass through to whichever application you're dealing with. For example, our Smartsheet logon. What you see in Figure 4 is from our actual Google domain security page, where we have gone in and set up single sign-on. And the point being that there really were only 4 pieces of information we needed to provide to configure single sign-on across our entire domain. That made it very simple and very stable for us to do. What you'll do is provide the URL for the login page. You'll provide the URL for single sign-on. And then the important thing, you will need to provide a certificate, either generated by yourself or by a certificate vendor, that allows for authentication to be passed securely and accurately. They aren't hard to get. Any one of the certificate providers can help you out if you don't happen to maintain. We do SAML internally, but we are a big believer in controlling everything in-house that we can. That isn't necessarily everyone's choice. There are a lot of certificate providers that can show you how to get this configured. Okay? So there we've got Google Authenticate, Google SSO set up. One of the things we're going to get to a little more in a minute is to make things even easier. What we've done is we've built self-service pages for our employees, for our customers. And the reason I'm bringing this up now is when we configure these builds, for example, if you need to access Tableau or Dropbox or anything you want to, we've configured these packages so that the user doesn't have to worry about single sign-on creation. That's all built into the package that we deliver to the customer. The idea, again, make it as easy for the customer, as efficient for the customer as possible. So, let's talk for a minute about what was first, which is authentication. One of the truths of a very mobile workforce is that you lose control over the networks through which people authenticate. Okay? And that can be back to your domain. Smartsheet uses a VPN if you want to contact internal resources, or even into these third-party apps and cloud-based apps that our users are using. So you're at a coffee shop, you're over an open public Wi-Fi, you now have username and password, both visible to people you don't know physically, and the network path itself is insecure. So how do we find an easy way to fix that for our users and maintain the security we want? One of the easiest ways to do this And you'll hear it called a number of different things. It'll be two-factor authentication, it'll be multi-factor auth, it'll be two-step verification. Is a simple extra step where at the time of login, the user is sent via a different channel, most times over their cell phone, a token that has to be added in addition to username and password. Okay? In our Google domain, could be very hard for it to be simpler. Go back into the security section of your domain policy, no, it's not policies, of your domain setup, and you will find options for setting up two-factor auth. So one click to set it up domain-wide, then you've got some choices. You can make it mandatory, you can make it voluntary. That's going to be one of your executive decisions. The good part is that all that happens is now to get into into any one of the tools you want, you have to be in possession of this third item on your cell phone. Laptop gets stolen, without the token it's useless. Even if somebody reads over your shoulder, the tokens are time-based. So they can see what your token was, and 30 seconds later it won't work again. Okay? Very little extra overhead, significant advances in security. Okay? Again, I'm going to harp on this a little bit, on the whole session of making it easy. We built our own application for providing passwords to our customers, to our employees. And we made the capability of two-factor authentication part of the process. So once a year, and because of the way we build this, we only make our users change passwords yearly, they go to an application we've produced. They get to pick their own password. How extensive the password is a function of what job you have. I'm an IT administrator, so if you can see it down at the bottom, that's what my password would look like. Please don't freak out. We don't give everybody 18-character random passwords. We make it applicable to what they have access to. Now, if you look on the right side, once they've changed their password, it generates this QR code. Go to your iPhone or your Windows phone, any phone will do it. Load the app that allows you to turn that QR code into its numeric value. It will plug into, on iPhones and Android phones, it's Google Authenticator. On a Windows phone, I think it's just called Authenticator. And it will pass that secret, and now, anytime you get that request, it will generate a password that you plug in, and you're now authenticated to the device. Very simple, very stable, adds significantly. I was at an event our CEO invited us to where we had about 125 or 30 presidents of local IT companies of significant size. And we did a presentation on two-factor auth and discovered that of the 125, probably 115 of them had never even heard of this. So this is an opportunity for you to get some extra security into your network at a very low overhead. And at a company level, we really promote this being done. Anyway, next part, here's where us IT guys get to give up a little bit of control. Now, back in the good old days, we picked which apps were going to be available, and we pushed them out to our customers. Well, welcome to the modern world. And it's a good thing. In the course of building our product, I deal every day with salespeople, video production people, marketing people, web design people, programmers, financial folks, and our executive team, all of whom are frankly better at selecting an application to solve a particular problem of theirs than I am. So our philosophy is when an application is presented to us, we say yes unless we find a reason to say no. Now, this does not mean giving up keys to the kingdom. There is still a vetting process we go through for each new application. Okay? So step one, we take a look at the app itself, make sure we find it, stable, clean, free of bugs, free of anything we'd want to worry about that. Again, Chrome Web Store does a good job of making sure that the apps are clean and don't present any problems to the network or to your security for us. So we've got that going for us. Second thing we do is we make sure we know what this third party is going to do with the information we provide to them. Okay? Doesn't take that long, doesn't add that much to your day. Here's an example from Smartsheet security policy. And what we're looking for are things that you have underscored. We're looking for an assurance that whatever personal information is provided is never released to third parties. We want to make sure there's a statement saying that they're not going to sell the identities or the email addresses for marketing purposes. And we want to make sure that if that company is using another company to perform services, credit card transactions, various other things, that there is a contractual relationship between the application and that third party, that they're going to follow the same rules as the app vendor. Okay? So once we have an assurance that this will work and that this will meet our security requirements, really the only other thing we look for, because we don't want 153 apps running loose on our network, is we're going to make sure we don't have something that will already work, that we can let people use an already vetted application. There are going to be times when you're going to have two very similar apps. For example, here at Smartsheet, we use two different applications for virtual meetings and virtual webinars. And today we're using Citrix GoToMeeting to present to you. We have a second option because we discovered that based on the location and size of the audience, the applications have different strengths. And so we go ahead and make both available to our customers so we've got the right tool in the right place. And this will be something you'll have to make your decisions on as you go along. To make things a little easier on us, we do a lot of in-house administration. We're using SCCM on Windows, and we're using a product called Casper for our Macs. We are actually right now we're about 55% Macs in our environment, and about 45% Windows, and not counting the incredible variety of mobile devices we've got running around the company. And again, here's one of the cases where here's our self-service sheet for our Macs. It goes ahead and scans the computer and only shows you the things you don't have yet, so you can see what's new and what's available. You'll notice a couple of things. Beyond installing the update, beyond installing the applications, you'll notice we've got Office updates and Dropbox updates. Where we get an advantage here is we get to vet the update, make sure it doesn't break anything important, and we just have our customers wait until it appears on the self-service page before they push that update to their local machine. Keeps things cleaner for us, keeps problems from cropping up that we'd rather not have to deal with. On the left-hand side of the page, you'll also notice one of the things we can do in Smartsheet is build out workflows. So for those things that are common applications here at work, whether it's you want to turn in a ticket for my IT team to deal with or you want to schedule time off, we just make those available as web links so our users have one place they can go and look for all of the services IT would like to make available to them. Makes life, it empowers the employee, and I don't know about you, but I'm really not that thrilled with walking to desks and typing in administrative credentials just to load a perfectly valid application. A couple of things. One is most of these are subscription-based. We found that it's a good policy to go ahead and at renewal time, validate that the app's still in use. Keep control of costs, keep control of extra applications, and again, use places that are pre-vetting. The app stores that are available out there from several major suppliers, Google being a great one, have already done a lot of this vetting work for you on the application itself. I'm going to take just a couple of minutes here about Smartsheet. What we do is collaboration software. We're now at Good heavens, we're now at over 7 million users. I know we're at use in like 147 countries around the world. We have been a Google app partner and a Google partner since before I got here. I've been here 3 years, so we've been in sort of from the beginning. We're one of the first of the Google, I'm forgetting the exact phrase for it, but we were one of the first launch partners that was accepted by Google and been part of that process. One of the things that is also a growing trend that you'll see a lot of nowadays is that, my apologies, there's a lot of integration between the applications. And so in the course of developing Smartsheet over the years, import and export to things like Google Apps, things like Office 365. We have a complete integration that we use internally and supply externally for things like Salesforce. Evernote is one of our newer partners where if you're using Evernote as your knowledge base in your company, moving things into and out of Smartsheet is very simple and very much a one-click application. We've even received some awards. Evernote named us Best Business App. We had at a recent Microsoft event, we were the best new cloud app available for Office 365. We're very proud of those partnerships. We're very proud that these companies have chosen us as a working partner with them to not only build out the application and the productivity of Smartsheet, but of their platforms as well. So we have a philosophy here at Smartsheet. Everybody is their most productive. The best work gets done when we love what we're doing. And if we can help people love their work, then we have, at the end of the day, done our job. And hopefully what we've presented today will help make your life a little easier and will help making loving your job a little bit better for you at work as well. With that, I'm done with my presentation, and Darren, if we have questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Hi. Let's see. Webcam's off. Sorry, is there a little bit of an echo?
No, I'm fine.
Okay, maybe it's just on my end. Oh no, some other people. Do you have volume coming out of your speakers maybe on your end?
Oh, it's from our television here in the... Okay, that should be gone now.
Okay. Yep, sounds good to me now. All right, got a lot of good questions here. Let's see. So should admins with zero formal tech training but somewhat tech savvy, should they expect to be able to deploy apps like yours and others without the help of an IT company? Or would you guys help with the deployment of that app? So I guess the question is sort of how easy would it be for just someone to come in who's not super technical to just, install an app like yours or any of these marketplace apps?
Oh, they're remarkably simple. In the case of Smartsheet, a user simply goes to our website and will find a subscribe button, and they can start at either the trial or the paid user level. But our application and many of these are web-based, so as long as you have a browser, the actual load on your local system is very small. And I've not found that it's taken us more than 5 or 10 minutes to get any of the apps we've talked about up and
running. How is it sounding for everyone? Still any echo or? Okay, looks like there is still some echo. Jim, do you have headphones with you by chance? It might be that the sound's coming out of your speakers. and then your mic is picking up on that.
Is that any better for you?
Yeah, this sounds fine now. Nope, still happening. I spoke too soon.
Okay.
Okay, I guess there might just be some echo from my end. I'll try and be succinct when I read the questions. Is there a TV off by you? The TV that's by you? Is that off?
Yeah, that's unfortunately what I'm hearing you through, so I've reduced it as much as I can.
Okay.
If you don't mind, were there other questions?
Yeah, no, there's plenty. I'll just it's fine. I don't think the echo is too bad. So they want to know, does Smartsheet integrate with Trello in any way?
No, we do not. Trello is not a company we've partnered with at this time.
Okay, and have you used private domain Chrome or Play app stores?
I'm sorry?
I think you can create sort of a private Chrome store for your domain. Have you had any experience with that?
Oh, yes, we have. It looks very similar to the Casper example we showed you, where either through what they're talking about is you can set up a localized web page that will show all of the available applications for your users and allow a pass-through logging as well. Yes, we have done that, and it works very well.
All right, great. So do you encourage your employees to use specific apps for their jobs, or is it entirely their choice?
It's a communication process. Occasionally, we'll have a user come to us and ask if we have a suggestion, but as often as not, they come to us with the app they'd like to use and ask us to vet it for them and make it an established application within the domain.
Awesome.
It sort of depends on if what they understand is what they want out of the project when they're done, or if they understand what the task is they're trying to do. When it's more outcome-based, we get asked for a lot more suggestions.
Okay. This is sort of a
When it's more
follow-up question.
task-based, they tend to come to us.
This is sort of a follow-up question to that one by a different person, though. How much time is budgeted to QA an app that a user requests? So how long do you spend personally testing it if it's not one you've used before? Or do you just look through the permissions?
From the time they ask for the app to the time we've approved it,
Correct.
we try to keep it to within 24 hours.
Okay. And is a lot of that 24 hours mostly just reading through the permissions it accepts, or is it you installing it for yourself and testing it out and things like that?
We go ahead and install it and run a series of tests based on the application to make sure that we don't find any hiccups or any interference with some other process we may be running. The turnaround time is as little as an hour, or like I said, if it's a more involved app, it might take 24 hours to get done.
Awesome. Um, so is there any way to manage what Chrome/Marketplace apps employees can see/install? I'm just going to take a minute before you jump in on that one to mention that the application I was talking about in my presentation on day one, for any of you tuned into that, Better Cloud can sort of help out with that in terms of it sort of reads through the permissions and can give you ratings on those apps, and you can blacklist and whitelist certain apps for your users using that. But Jim, do you want to elaborate a little bit on managing what apps your employees can install?
There is a limited amount of control to the web stores. We don't do a lot of control on that level because as soon as someone's outside of our domain, they can go ahead and see the full population of the Chrome store and the other applications that are out there. So we kind of trust people to be professional and not go forward with an app until it's gone through the vetting process. And so far, we haven't had any major problems.
That's good. Here's one that I'm sure a lot of people can relate to. So, what would be the best way to clean up third-party applications that are currently active for our company? We have a lot that users have installed. So, I think a lot of companies might not have had any sort of QA process before and just let people run wild. And now they're at the point where they need to start cleaning it up. How would you recommend sort of approaching that task?
Um, and I'm assuming we want to avoid the wonderful process of walking from machine to machine. You can choose to invest in paid apps. Like we said, we're using a Casper product made by Jamf, and we're using Microsoft SCCM that will return an inventory of the apps on every machine in the network from a centralized location. There is a free app called Spiceworks that will go out and inventory your domain and do the same thing for you and give you a list of applications, either machine by machine or list the app and all of the machines it's been installed upon. And then it depends on what control systems you have in place, whether you can remove the app centrally or you're going to have to touch each box to do it. We can pull apps back on all of our registered machines from a central location.
Okay, that should be helpful. It's a lot of different suggestions of routes you could go for this. Um, so yeah, as I mentioned before, Better Cloud would also be able to help with that, as you can sort of see all the apps that are installed in your domain. You could go through and blacklist various ones and things like that from a central
Yep,
console. Um,
correct.
let's see. So this is a question about Smartsheet. So do you work with any schools or mostly just corporate entities?
We work with a lot of schools. I know we work with the University of Texas. I know we deal with a lot of educational customers. Um, And we have found that what our application allows us to do is everything from classroom management to the assignment of and return of papers and projects from our students. As a matter of fact, before I started working here, I was teaching at a sort of a non-traditional high school, and I generated most of my class projects using Smartsheet. One of the best things about that is you're an educational group, so you're a nonprofit, and we use a separate pricing structure for that just to kind of promote my own product here a little bit. But we very much like to see the use of the application or any organizational online system for students. It's the way students want to learn today.
Okay. And then we've got another recommendation from someone who heard your mention of Spiceworks, and they said they use Spiceworks very effectively. We've got Amelia has a question
Very
from
good product.
asking if my mustache is real because I did not have it yesterday, and if I just ate chocolate and got it on my face. It's real.
I
Um,
seem to remember it from 2 days ago, so
it was more of a beard, I feel like, yesterday, but then we have a lot of bearded presenters today, and mine wasn't as good as theirs. So it looks like that's all the questions we have for some of the technical things. So again, this session will be recorded if any of you want to rewatch it. Thank you so much for everyone who came out. We have another session in a little over an hour, about an hour and 20 minutes. Thank you, Jim, for presenting. Really informative, and I think it helped a lot of people, it seems like. Um, thank you all, and have a great day.